It's the center of a Tootsie Pop.
That's oh, I see. Is that how many? That's what we were counting. Okay, good. Hi guys,
Perfect.
welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday, the show where we start things off with the center of the Tootsie Pop.
The center, the Tootsie
center.
Roll center.
That's right. So yeah, we made it. Sorry about being a little bit late. I was sleeping, and that's my fault. And nobody else's. Don't you dare take the blame. If you were up with me last night.
It was my fault.
Joe. It was Joe's fault. And
It was
so
my
we're
fault.
here today. By the
Trust
fault
me,
of
I know
Joe
these
a
things,
little
and I'm
bit.
used to it.
Yeah. Joe, it wasn't your fault. Okay. I didn't even talk to you. Last night. Oh, I did. It was Tuesday. I talked to you last night. That's right.
We had a meeting.
Yeah, we had a meeting. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. The meeting didn't run that late, though.
No.
It didn't run until like 10 o'clock in the morning.
I was hanging out in your new living space that you're not living in yet.
Yeah, how's that coming along?
It's beautiful.
Yeah?
You're going to live in a giant Build-A-Bear?
Ooh. Okay, that sounds really nice because I love fluffy things, and I
It
like
was
the
so
warmth of that idea.
fluffy.
Yeah?
So fluffy. Although it might
gosh.
be itchy because it's also fiberglass. But it was so fluffy.
I'll take what I can get, you know?
Layers upon layers of fluffy.
Okay, that doesn't sound good for the skin. At all. Okay. Well, cool.
You're gonna love it, I promise.
That sounds actually really nice. You know, all that itchy fluff. It's the kind of fluff that when you leave, it stays with you. Literally stays with you, stuck in your skin for weeks.
Yeah.
Are you itchy?
No. I was wearing gloves and long sleeves and
Okay,
everything.
good.
But yeah, it was fun. I got to fill the big huge vat of you know the machine, and your brother was up in the ceiling, you know, blowing all the stuff in, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was cool. And I got a piece of wood stuck down in there because I was like trying to stir it all around and everything. And there's like these big augers. It's like a snowblower augers down in there, like grinding all this stuff up, right? And then feeding it into these tubes and blowing it into the whatever. And I'm like, first I was using my hand, and then it got down a little ways, and I was like, you know, I can kind of feel these things, you know, rotating under my hands, and I'm like, I'm gonna get a board, and I got this board down in there, and it went. And it, like, got stuck in there and, like, blew a fuse.
Oh, no. Oh, gosh.
And I'm like, well, I guess that's why you're not supposed to put your hand out in there, because it would, like, totally rip it right off and blow it into the ceiling.
Oh, my gosh.
So you could have had my hand in your ceiling, too, which would have been...
That would have been... Well, that would have been a nice memento, but I think that I'd rather you keep your hand on you. I don't know why. I just think that would be better.
Yeah. Maybe, probably. Yeah, you're probably right.
I think you would probably, your hand would be more used to me and to you, connected to your body and not stuck in my ceiling.
Yeah, otherwise I wouldn't be able to do this.
That's right. This is an important technique. And how are you going to do that if it's gone? Yeah. You would have to take your other hand and then do that with your hand. Yeah. And I can't mimic that one unless I chop my hand off, so that's gonna be hard. Starting Don't Worry Wednesdays would be real hard for me. I'd have to pretend I have a stub.
Yes. Ash, your birthday's on a Wednesday this year, so is mine. In fact, my birthday is on Ash Wednesday.
That's incredible.
That is incredible. By the way, someone said something. Oh, yeah. No, fiberglass is not a part of my skin routine. That doesn't sound like it would be very good. It would probably irritate my skin and make it feel terrible and break out.
Well, your brother did say there's no like glue or anything in this, so it's probably just fine. It's probably not irritating at all. So you could roll around in it and be just fine.
Fair enough. Hotsu, I like your sandwich, but I'm a little confused. What kind of cheese is that? Or is that cheese? That's cheese, right? That's cheese and ham sandwich. Is that a ham cheese sandwich? That's what I see. Anyways, ham cheese sandwiches are good. Yeah. So how you guys doing?
Good.
Good.
You wouldn't even believe it.
See, you doubt my ability to believe so often, Joe.
I do.
Yeah. You know, I feel insulted. No. How are you, princess?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking.
Awesome. I'm doing very well as well. How about you
Nobody
guys?
asked you.
Oh, dang. I see. Maybe my beliefs are wrong. I thought I was believing you guys wanted to know, but I guess you don't.
Wait, is it Gaslight Joe Day?
What? Why are we gonna gaslight Joe?
Ham,
cheese, and mayo. Okay, that sounds like a good sandwich. I can't have ham, but it does sound like a good sandwich. It's got to have that mayo on there if you're gonna have a sandwich, or at least some kind of tasty wet substance. Maybe pour milk on it.
Pour milk on your sandwich.
Yeah,
that's
great. Anything that's creamy on your sandwich is what I'm saying.
Milk, buttermilk.
Buttermilk.
Buttermilk does not taste like butter or milk.
Right.
I'm offended by buttermilk.
That's like grape nuts. They're neither grape nor nuts.
Yeah, there's no grapes nor nuts.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah. You can use oat milk. You can use goat milk. You can use boat milk.
Oat milk, goat milk, boat milk.
Boat milk is oil.
I like milking boats.
Is that gasoline? Are you just like taking gasoline out of boats?
Probably, or like barnacle sludge. Which probably isn't even a thing.
That sounds more accurate. Okay, anyways, what do you say we get the show started?
Yes, that would be a great idea.
Milk? Yeah, why would you not put milk on your sandwich, guys? Come on.
Easy.
Get with it.
I will argue with you. Grape nuts never get more delicious, no matter how old you get. No matter how many years I'm 29 years old, they do not get any better.
As your need for fiber becomes greater. Okay. I still don't think I've ever had a grape nut. And grape nut? A box of grape nuts. A bowl of grape? There we go. A bowl of grape nuts. Never had it. All right. Well.
You're not any worse off.
Okay. I like that statement. It's applicable to most things.
Yes, it's true.
Cool. Well, what do we have for topics today? Let's see here. I haven't been.
I'm looking at the list.
One. Yeah, there we go. I got one. So we've got a topic by an anonymous. And the title is How to Help Despite My Shyness. How to help despite my shyness. Which I think that's already fantastic start to a topic. So I'm looking forward to see what this got to say. I'm going to put it on the screen. You guys can read along as Princess reads it for us.
Is it on the screen?
Should be.
Sorry. Hello, I am a very shy person. Sometimes I see people who need a little help. Example, someone who cannot read the bus timetable. I'm always so fearful that I just stand by like everyone else. I always feel so bad. How can I push myself into helping someone? From Anonymous.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Oh, the wrong button. It went
crazy.
Crazy.
You're crazy
for getting in trouble for YouTube copyright.
Yes.
So, yeah.
That's what we're doing. Actually, no. What's going to happen is we sang that, so we're going to get a little bit of a royalty, and so is the original artist.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because we get a royalty for being an artist who sings it.
as long as well, actually, we would have to release that using, like, DistroKid or something, and then it
Yeah,
would
or ASCAP.
automatically go to the right agency,
Yeah.
and the Frank whoever agency, whatever
Uh-huh.
that yeah, I
Yeah.
studied that at one point.
Shall we get to the
Uh-huh,
topic?
I think so. Thanks, Princess. Yeah,
Ugh,
I can relate with this because I was a very shy person. And on occasion I still am to some degree. There are definitely scenarios
mhm,
where, you know, not because I guess, there's just scenarios where it's like, I don't know if I want to approach that person or not. And not because it looks scary, just because my brain is like still a little bit shy from time to time, which most of the time it's not, but every once in a while it can be. Um, I tried to get better at that over the years, and I've gotten a lot better. Just with my shyness, with my ability to approach people, whether it's to help them or to ask questions. Um, and a lot of it started when I was sort of able to get outside of myself and look at myself clearly and recognize that I'm
mm,
just a human being and
mm,
that people don't think I'm an idiot just because I raise my hand in class and have to ask a question, or people aren't offended that I come up and try to help them. Um, or, to be able to remove myself from myself for a little bit and re-look at myself and examine myself and kind of tell myself like, hey, you can do this. There's no reason you shouldn't, logically speaking. And then carrying through with it. And that did a big number. Just repeatedly forcing myself to do those things helped a ton. It really,
mhm,
really, really helped. But um, I'm looking forward to see what Joe has to say. I think that Joe also used to be a person who was not very sociable. So
mhm.
he became someone that I looked up to and learned a lot from in this category. So I'm sure he's got a lot of good nuggets to share, which I've reaped just by being around him. So I'm looking forward to giving it to him. So take it away, Joe.
Mm. Oh, I will take it away.
Okay. Don't take. Okay.
It's away now.
Uh oh.
It has been taken. Um, and
Can
I
I take
see
it
I'm
back
on the
now?
screen now.
Take it back
Oh
now,
my
y'all.
gosh. Take it back.
Five to the
Great.
left, five to the right. Back to the topic.
Thanks.
Oh my gosh. Oh, it's gonna be one of those. Good. All right. Um, so yeah, how do you overcome being shy? That's an interesting question. There are a few different things you can do. Ryan has explained this on previous shows before about some of the things that he went through. I can explain some of the things that I went through to overcome being shy in these types of experiences where really all you're trying to do is be helpful. And it fluctuates from day to day. Some days I feel like being more helpful than others. Some days I feel like, hey, if I see somebody, going through some kind of a challenge or whatever, I really want to help because in my mind, I think to myself, okay, what would I want if I was in that situation? Like, if I was having a difficult time with something, would I want help? Would I want somebody to take the initiative? Because also, there are times when I'm struggling and I'm too shy to ask for help.
Hmm.
Or I have too much pride or whatever. And you always hear there's this stereotypical guy thing. A guy won't ask for directions. That's one thing that maybe a long time ago I struggled with, but after I worked in retail for a long time. I worked at grocery stores a lot, and so it kind of was my job to help people find things a lot of times. Or, and I worked in sales at a music store. It was my job to help people, either find whatever it was out on the rack, or, if they were looking for a certain thing, it would be in the back and I'd have to go get it for them, right? And, having a job in customer service can really help you overcome that because, it's kind of your job. It's what you're paid to do to assist somebody in getting whatever it is they need when they come into your store that you're working at, right? And so those were some things that kind of just forced me out of that comfort zone or out of that fear zone of being shy and not wanting to help. But now, like when I'm out and about, I remember just this past Christmas, I was going to mass and it was like super busy. I mean, I went apparently it was the one where all the kids were putting on their production. And so like all the people that only go to mass on Christmas and Easter were there and like all the families were there and like all the kids were there and it was so cute. They had like Mary and Joseph and an actual baby for the baby Jesus and so that was cute. And then they had like two shepherds and a couple wise men, and then like 14,000 angels, because everybody else was an angel.
It's
And
necessary.
it was hilarious, right? But
Copious
anyway, so
amounts of
like
angel.
what's that?
Copious amounts of angel.
Yeah,
Gratuitous amounts of
it's
angel.
crazy. It's like, you only get a certain amount of every other character, but everybody else gets to be an angel, right? And
I
so
like
like,
that. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. There's only 3 wise
um,
men. There aren't 400, right? I guess there
right,
is.
exactly, right? But anyway, so anyway, I'm going in and I'm holding the door and there's just like tons and tons of people coming in. And apparently I turned into the door guy,
Mm.
because I held the door and I held the door for one person coming in and then, well, these people are halfway up the stairs. So I might as well hold the door for them too. And then another person came halfway up the stairs. Well, I'll hold the door for them. And meanwhile, the wind is like blowing like crazy and it's a blizzard and it's nuts. And, like I'm freezing. And then I watched this family. There's this mom and this dad, and they had like 1,000 kids because it's Catholic family, right? And so like they have like a zillion kids. And so like there's all these kids. They're trying to rustle them up, and the dad's carrying this toddler, and the toddler kicked his boot off into the snow off the side of the stairs down in the thing, and the dad totally didn't even notice it. And so I pointed it out to him. I'm like, your kid just lost their boot. Like, I'm sorry. And he's like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much for telling me." But this was a moment where, I'm like, that kid's foot is gonna freeze like crazy. Like this kid is now barefoot out in this blizzard, right? And so in my mind, I'm like, that poor kid. That kid needs his boot. And that dad needs to know that, the kid lost his boot. And so that's just one of those times when almost instinctually, maybe it's because I'm a dad and I think to myself, okay, if my kid lost his shoe, I'd want my kid to have his shoe, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like in this instance, you're talking about anonymous, you're talking about someone can't read the bus timetable and, but they need to catch the right bus and they need to catch the right bus at the right time because they need to get where they're going. And, they're having
Mm-hmm.
trouble, and maybe you can just stop and you can say, "Can I help you figure that out?" Or whatever, or, which one are you looking for? And you can help them. Those are moments when, depending on the day, because some days I'm feeling helpful and some days I'm feeling, compassionate, and other days I'm feeling like destroying everything around me and lighting the world on fire and not caring about anything. So I guess it depends a little bit on the day. But um to put yourself in that position, I always try and think to myself, what would I want somebody to do if I was struggling? And maybe I'm too shy to ask for help, but I really need help. Those to just put it in that perspective in my mind can push me over the edge to the point where I'll be like trying to be helpful or trying to, whatever. Um, because there are times when all of us need help. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yes.
I mean, we all go through stuff, and sometimes we need somebody to help us, and we don't even know the right question to ask. And it's crazy. And so you might try and find someone in a uniform that can help you, or you might just stand there shell shocked and looking around and like, what am I supposed to do? But you know, getting yourself to the point where you can speak up, because like you said, Anonymous, you're like, I'm always so fearful that I just stand by like everyone else.
Mm.
Because that's kind of how we are. We don't want to put ourselves out there because maybe we don't want to be misunderstood, or maybe we don't want to be seen as bothersome or, intrusive or whatever, right? But, sometimes what you can do, if you're going to go up and talk to somebody and you're a little bit fearful of doing that, one of the things I learned when I was doing inspections was what you can do is you can start with some sort of, a statement like, "Hey, I'm really sorry to bother you, but it looks like you might need some help." Or, "I'm really sorry to bother you, is are you did you need something here? Did you need some help figuring this out?" And to start with that, "I'm sorry to bother you," a lot of times that can just kind of smooth things out for that interaction, because then it takes the feeling of threat away. Um, but I don't know. I think in my mind, the thing that always pushes it over the edge is just thinking in terms of, if I was struggling like this person seems to be struggling, I would want somebody to help me. But I'm too shy to ask for help. So I'm at the mercy of whoever has the courage to say something, or to speak up, or to mention it, or to say, "Hey, I'm sorry to bother you, but are you figuring this out okay? Or do you need some help with this or whatever?" And I don't know, sometimes you can practice. I remember practicing, breaking the ice with people. And I would do it by going to gas stations or going to stores, and I would ask people working there, "Hey, are you guys having fun in here today?" You make eye contact and you smile. And you say, "Hey, you guys having fun in here today?" And they'll generally laugh, because, most people aren't generally having fun at work, or some people are having fun at work, and you'll get your answer just in the way they look at you, right?
Mhm.
But another thing I like to do is when I'm going to like Walmart or whatever, and they have automatic doors when you walk into these places, you know, and I'll just like kind of step in before somebody, and I'll be like, "Hey, let me get the door for you."
Right.
Because it'll automatically open when I stand there.
That's so silly. That sounds
It's
exactly like you, Joe. I love it.
But it's just, it's just one of those things. If you can bring some humor in, it really makes everybody feel better, including yourself. So if you can think of some little things that might just be a little bit humorous, or bring a smile to somebody's face or whatever, those really, really take the pressure off, and it's a lot easier to get over the hump of being shy. Um, Here's the thing to remember, Anonymous. Most people out there, you said in there again, you said, "I stand by just like everyone else." Because everybody else is standing there, and nobody wants to make the first move. If you can become the person that makes the first move, most of the time, 90% of the time, that first move is going to be welcomed. Now, there are always going to be times when people will just grunt or say no, or be like, "Huh," or whatever, and they're just having a bad day, and that's okay. It's no big deal. You didn't offend them. They were already offended. You, sometimes it's like,
Mm-hmm.
"Hey," my mom asked me something about, um, I, uh, I want to tell this story, but I don't want to like, I want to do this right. Okay. So it's like we were talking about something, and my mom was like, "Do you think she's gonna be mad?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, but not about that. She's just always mad."
Fair
So that's
enough.
just the way it's gonna be, right? Like, doesn't matter, like they're gonna be mad. And when someone responds like that, it's not because of you. It's not because you offended them by asking them if they needed help. It's because they're just already in that state of mind, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's okay, right? But people, for the most part, would love to have a friend. They would love to have somebody help them, especially in those moments when they need help. But they're afraid to ask. So if you do make that first move, most of the time it will be welcomed. You will be like a hero to them,
Mhm.
and it'll be great. But you will have those moments when someone's just having a bad day, and and that's okay. That's just how it kind of goes. But Ryan has always said, embrace the awkward.
Mhm.
If you feel awkward about something, do it. And feel that awkward feeling,
Mhm.
because there's something about it, right? You feel awkward, you feel like tense and stressful, and maybe just this little bit of adrenaline or whatever, and but when you embrace that feeling, the more you do it, the more comfortable it becomes. And what you find is you find yourself growing the more
Mhm.
you do this. You find yourself growing in stature. You find yourself growing in confidence. You find yourself growing in the ability to be the person to make the first move, to say the first thing. And most of the rest of the world needs a person to say the first thing or make the first move. And they want it. They want you to do it. They want somebody to do it, and they don't want it to be them.
Mhm.
So you can become that person. You absolutely can. And it takes some practice, and it takes just kind of getting over that little bit of that edge. And what you're going to find is you're not going to get hurt. You're not going to die. Everything's going to be fine. And I like to embrace the attitude sometimes of, well, we'll just see what happens. I'll just do it and we'll see what happens.
Mhm.
Who knows? Maybe I'll get a story out of it. Here's the thing. Either you're going to get a new friend out of the deal, or you're going to get a story out of it. Or maybe
Mhm.
both. Right? And so you can go out and collect stories by doing this. And it can be kind of fun. You can make it a game. So anyway, that's kind of what I have to start with. I'm going to turn it back over to Ryan, because I've watched him grow through this. He talks about me being a person that he looked to learn this stuff, but I actually
Sure.
got to watch him improve as he started doing this more and more and more, and he's come so far. So I'm going to sit back and let him talk. So, Ryan,
Thanks, Joe.
it's all yours.
I appreciate it. Yeah, there's a couple of things you said I want to talk more about. One of them being just embracing the awkward. I'm just gonna start there because that was the last thing you were touching on, and um, that is huge. To be able to embrace the awkward is, I know it's hard, but like Joe said, the more you do it, the more you embrace the awkward, the more you're capable of putting yourself in any situation
Mm-hmm.
without feeling so held up within yourself that you can't act. Um, because that's what usually happens. Usually, when things become awkward, you turn inwards and you're thinking in your head and you hear your thoughts and you're like, this is awkward. What do I do? I don't know what to do. That's what's making it awkward. It's weird. Um, and when you embrace that, when you sit there and go, this is okay and I want this, when you actively seek out awkwardness just so you can embrace it and dwell there, it makes in life, you're going to have a lot of relationships. where you mess up or someone else messes up,
Mm-hmm.
your ability to handle those will increase so much if you just embrace the awkward. When you've done something wrong or someone's mad at you and you don't know why or whatever, right? And then you come into that conversation with that person, whether it be someone who you are trying, like, whether they're a friend, whether they're maybe an enemy, or maybe you're in a romantic relationship with, it doesn't even matter who that person is. If you can practice embracing those awkward situations, do those things that you are shy of doing, do those things that you are, that like, work your way into awkward moments, basically. Because when you handle those, it allows you to build up that inner strength for handling them. It allows you to absolutely conquer when you've got those situations between your relationships that are not healthy, or that require a hard conversation, or require you to listen to them and just go, okay, maybe I was wrong here, or maybe whatever, right? Being able to enter into those conversations and resolve them is huge in your life. And it is one of the best, most important relationship skills ever. Because they're the relationship skills that allow your relationships to have forgiveness and to work through their problems, right? And if you want to be good at working through relationship problems, as weird as it sounds, one of the places it starts here, with being able to encounter people in a moment where you're afraid of it being awkward, or you're afraid of it just turning out the wrong way. When you get anxious, or when you get shy, right? Being able to conquer that will go farther than you ever expect, because it will give you that inner calm, that inner strength, that inner confidence to know, hey, I can work through this. I can be patient. I can be calm. I can listen. I can work through these problems. I'm just going to not hide within myself and run away. I'm just going to enter into that problem, right? Being able to enter into the problem is huge, right? But when we're shy and we don't enter in, what we're doing is we're training our brain to keep on being shy, right? We're creating a habit. The subconscious mind, what it does, it's a tool. The function of it is to create and execute habits. Execute not as in kill, but execute as in, like, do the command, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's designed to create habits and then do them. So, I mean, there's so many examples, but an easy example is walking. Let's say you can walk. You don't ever remember learning it, but you can do it without thinking. You can do it without thinking. Why? Because your subconscious mind has control over your walking. You can think about it consciously, you can, but the habit and the way that you balance your torso, the way that you pick up your feet, everything rides in the balance of your subconscious mind there, and literally in the balance, because otherwise you literally fall over without balance, right? Your subconscious mind is huge in the facilitation of habits, whether it comes to body movements, or the type of activities that you like, the type of activities that you're drawn to, how you interact with people, and so on and so forth. Your first, like, when someone insults you, how do you react? When someone compliments you, how do you react? Your first reactions, how you perceive the world, like, do you perceive certain things as good or bad? Like, all of that is in your subconscious mind, right? And there's a reason why your subconscious mind is, like, firing way more neurons. Like, I can't remember, it's like 2 billion neurons a second. And your subconscious mind is only like 1,000 or 2,000, something like that. I can't remember the numbers. But
yeah, it's like 2,002 billion. I think your conscious mind is 2,000 and your subconscious is 2 billion.
So your subconscious mind is taking up way more of you to keep you doing everything that's functioning than your conscious mind. So you really want to work into that. If you want to become a person who can interact with others without fear and get over your shyness and that sort of thing, then what you got to do is you got to train your subconscious mind, right? In order to train your subconscious mind, unfortunately, it's trained by what it does and what it sees. If you watch other people who are doing this type of behavior, where they're seeing someone and not ignoring them, but going off to help them, right? I'm going to slow down here. I'm going to say this again. If you see someone who helps another person, who overcomes their shyness, it's actually like putting a coin in the bucket for the habit of you doing that as well. So I would recommend, if you can, make friends and be around friends that you witness them doing things that require you getting over your shyness. 7 trillion. Okay, wow. So I was totally wrong, but jeez. Okay.
We're just making up numbers.
Oh, okay, just making it good. Good. All right, good. Good. Okay. So that's a big help, right? Being around people who challenge your shyness is actively training your subconscious mind to stop being shy. And I know you're like, well, I am around people. That's good. If you are, then that's good. The second step is to act on that. So actively do things that are against you being shy. Like if you have that thought of, oh, I'm being shy right now, purposefully act against the shyness. And I'm telling you this from experience. I'm not telling you this from necessarily just a psychological point of view. And I forgot to say in the beginning of the show, hey, welcome to Don't Worry Wednesdays, the show where we talk about topics. And if you want a topic, submit a topic to don'tworrywednesday.com. And we are not professional psychologists or psychiatrists. Okay, done. But I wanted to say that I'm not we're not professional psychologists. But what the mind works as it does. And not all of us work the same way. But in this principle, this is true. If you are shy and you notice yourself in the moment being shy, if you act out against the shyness by performing the thing that you're shy about performing, and you do that several times, it's going to get easier and easier and easier until there comes a point where the shyness has been conquered, or at least mostly conquered, where your natural instinct is to, maybe it will be to feel shy, but your natural instinct will be to ignore it and go, you know what, I'm going to help this person, right? And that's, or best case scenario, your shyness completely leaves and you just become the person that's not shy anymore. And either one of those is possible, right? And so I urge you, do what Joe's recommending. When you enter into a place, or when you hold the door for people, or whatever it is, don't be afraid to make conversation, because that again will be training your subconscious mind not flee from people or to feel like it has to be shy. The shyness is a self-defense mechanism, okay? Not always, but in most cases, if it's preventing you from doing something good, it's probably the result of something that has become a self-defense mechanism. You've probably been hurt before in this category. Maybe you reached out to someone and they received you poorly, or maybe you went out to help someone, like happened to me one time. I went to help someone with their work in class because they were struggling, and what happened later that day, they tried to punch me in the balls because they thought I was showing them that I was smarter than them. Right? They were like, you're just trying to, they thought that I was just trying to prove to them that I was smarter than them. I wasn't trying to help them, but I was like legitimately trying to help them, and they didn't understand it. So that happens. But when that happens, I want to tell you something. Other people's reactions to you is not your own reflection. It's not an accurate reflection of self. Okay? When you interact with someone, however they react it isn't an accurate representation or a good reflection of who you are, right? So what I mean by this is, this is important. When we're children, when we're like babies, we get our entire identity, how important we are, right? What kind of person we are. We get so much of our identity from how our parents and our surroundings treat us. When we're a baby, all the way through like 7, 8, 9 years old, our brains are forming. And the way that we see ourselves in the world is how people treat us. And we identify who we are. We figure out who we are as a human being based on how other people are telling us who we are by how they're treating us, right? And that's how we are when we're children. We can't help that. That's a natural brain function of self-identity. And everyone experiences that. And it can be the cause of a lot of trauma. Traumas that we don't even recognize. But as you grow older, as you grow more conscious, more understanding of the world around you, there comes a point where you have to realize that's not who you are. It's not a good way to represent yourself. How other people treat you has nothing to do with who you are as a human being. Because anybody can treat you anyway. Now, is it good to get feedback and look at your relationships and say, okay, there's clearly a problem here because all of my friends think this way about me. So there must be something here to this. Sure, I think it's okay to look into those things. But it's important to recognize that it isn't an absolute truth, that you are how people treat you, that you are the reflection of other people's actions, right? So what you need to do sometimes is take a step back from yourself and look at yourself away from people, how they interact with you, and say, I am not like a jerk. This person treated me like a jerk. They treated me poorly, right? That's not because of who I am. That's because of who they are, right? That's more accurate, right? Who you are is what you put out into the world, right? We are gifts, but we can be terrible gifts, right? We're all gifts in this world to the people around us, but we can be really terrible gifts, right? How other people treat us is who they are, not who you are. So if you have an encounter with someone, right, and it's poor, it's bad, it makes you, maybe it's the result, or maybe it's the thing that's made you become shy. Maybe something in your past happened like that. Maybe not. Or, maybe you approach someone and you're really kind and you're trying to help them and they don't take it the right way and they're mean, right? Recognize that's who they are, not who you are. And that could be also just who they are in that moment. Maybe they're just having a bad day. Maybe they let loose and it just was a bad moment for them and they look at themselves and are ashamed of their own actions in that moment, right? That happens. We've all been there. We've all been ashamed of ourselves. So try not to judge yourself other than by the fact that you want to help people. If you want to help people, that means you're a good person, period. Right? That's good. That's solid. So I encourage you to put that gift on display. You're trying to be a person who is good in the world, and the world needs more good. The world needs more good so bad. The world is starving for people who will put themselves out there just to do the small things that are helpful. I don't assume that you're Catholic, but we have a saint, someone that we look up to, who their whole slogan, if you will, to their life was do small things with great love. And we look up to this person because they trained us. They've helped us to look at the world and start doing small things with great love, because that's huge, right? That's how you reform the world, right? That's how you reform the culture. That's how you make a difference in people's lives. And I know, because you want to do something great in people's lives, you know. But if you can't do the small things, how are you going to do the great things? If you're too shy to step out of your bounds to do something small, when something is really on the line and it's huge and it's great and it's daunting and it's scary, how much more will you recoil and shy back into yourself, right? I think it really does start from the small things. It's like taking baby steps to go a long journey, right? You have to get yourself into the habit of doing small things with great love. And Joe or Princess, can you remind me what the name of this thing is? Isn't it?
Therese of Lisieux.
Okay. I was like, it's either Therese, who is the little flower, right?
Yeah.
Or Avila. And I was like, I don't think it's Saint Avila. I always get those two mixed up.
Teresa of Avila that was not her. She was the one who fell off the horse and then yelled at God and said, "This is why you don't have very many friends."
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But she was a way better person than just that. She was an amazing person. But yeah, she did that. That's right. Yeah, it's awesome. Okay. Anyways, but yeah, Saint Teresa of Lisieux. You can look her up. She's awesome. But anyways, yeah. And you know, she's known as the little flower. I think that she probably was, you know, quite shy, and she did a lot of little things to work her way out of it. And I'm not positive of that, but that seems pretty close to accurate anyway. But anyways, my point is, you're trying to become the person who can do these things, right? Then you got to work on your subconscious. And your subconscious can be trained through your thought patterns and through action, right? And by watching other people. Watching other people is huge, right? Getting yourself to actually do the thing, even bigger. And your thought patterns, those are what's going to prepare you for doing those things. So your thought patterns should be looking at yourself and recognizing there's no reason for you to be shy. Recognizing your intentions are good. Recognizing that you're someone who has a lot to offer to the world, even if it's just small things like this. It could be big to someone else, right? Getting to the bus into the right location could be their whole career. Maybe they're trying to get a job and they won't land the job unless they get there, and it's going to change their life. You know, it seems like a small thing, and it's a small thing for you, but it might be huge to them. So work on how you talk to yourself sometimes, and let yourself know that it's okay that you don't have to be shy in those kind of scenarios. And that, I don't know how you're going to tell yourself this, but I'm going to tell you this. You are a gift to the world, and you're a marvelous gift. One that no one else can replace. No one else is in your shoes at the time that you're in your shoes. No one else is going to do the things that you get to do for people. And you only get the chances you get to do those things. And so I'd say it's very important that you take those opportunities and not shell away into yourself, hide away, and prevent what could be. Because this world needs good. This world needs good people starving for it. So if you can push yourself, because you're totally capable, and you're the perfect person for it. You can push yourself to do these good things, even when you're a little shy. It's gonna be huge. People don't recognize, no one does, how big of an impact we make. How much just our life changes everything. And how much, like, you don't understand, because it's impossible to understand. But there's more lives around you than just you. And there are a lot of generations to come. And the little things you do today, you don't notice, but there's a real butterfly effect. There's a real effect where you maybe just help one person on the street. Give them like $4. Or maybe you tell someone where the bus stop is. And it just continues from there for generations. Maybe it changes that person's heart just a little, just enough to make a different decision in the future that helps someone else, that adds more good to the world. don't know, and you never will know. Well, maybe you will if you go to heaven and they tell you, but it doesn't matter. The point is, evil begets evil, and good begets good. And I mean, you notice that from maybe self-destruction, spirals of self-destruction. Have you ever encountered one of those? You recognize that evil begets evil. Your self-destruction begets more self-destruction. And if you work your way out of that, you recognize the only way is to fight it with good and being a good person out in the world. And that's like the best we can do. And it changes everything. You just don't know how important you are. And it's hard to see. Especially when you might compare yourself to other people. There's no use in doing that because no one's where you are. And you're the only one capable of what you're capable of. So, think those thoughts, put that into your brain, and let that empower you when you go see that next person who needs that little bit of help on the bus. To say, you know what, I'm gonna do this. They don't know that they could use my help. I'm gonna go over there, and I'm gonna help them. And hey, that's how you change the world. Because you change the culture that way, and that's the world, right? By doing good acts, you start training other people's subconscious mind to have habits of being good people, right? That's important. How a child is raised is how they're going to be, right? Not always, but generally speaking, if they're not given any other kind of information about how they're supposed to be, they're just going to be a product of their environment, right? And you are a product. You are the environment of someone else, and so you can help train people to be good people because you're already a good person. But the world needs to be trained and have that subconscious habit of being good people trained in their brains so that we can have more good people here and the world can be a better place to live in. So all of that is really important to me, and I think it should be important to all of us. So anyways, sorry, I talked for like way longer probably than any of us expected. I'm going to give it back over to Joe. Joe, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Not much. I think you covered it very, very well. And one of the things, there are just a couple of things. One, if you're trying to look for an entryway into doing this, into pushing the edges of that comfort zone, because like what Ryan was talking about, the more you push to the edges of where you're comfortable, the more you embrace the awkward, the more you do these things, the easier and easier it gets, right? And so sometimes we got to start small. And one of the things that you can do to just start small, and this is, you may not get to the point where you're willing to strike up a conversation with somebody yet. You might not get to the point where you're willing to go and offer assistance to somebody yet, right? But you can start by, when you're out and about in public, you can just, walk around and you can make eye contact and smile at people. Just as you're in the store, whatever. I'll do this, when I go to Walmart or Meijer or whatever, when I'm at whatever store I'm at. And I'll just, some days I'm better at it than others. When I'll tell you what, it can be really difficult when you're going through struggles in your life and you've got a lot of stuff on your mind. It's hard to do this kind of stuff, but like it can actually help you feel better when you make eye contact with people and smile. And you don't even have to say anything, but that one moment that you share with that other person where you make eye contact and smile at them can really brighten their day along with yours, because it's hard when somebody does that. It's hard not to automatically smile back, because you will feel more at ease when somebody does that. So if you can just start there, that can really help. Now, some of us, we have different personalities, right? So some of us are more outgoing. Some of us are more driven. Some of us are more able to just naturally put ourselves out there. And some of us are naturally more reserved. I will use this example. Ryan will know exactly who I'm talking about. When I woke up this morning at his brother's house,
I don't think you have to tell the rest of the story. I think I already got it.
There were 3 girls.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Ryan's got some nieces and nephews, right? A whole gaggle of them.
Mm.
And so, like, I woke up this morning, and one was already there when I woke up, looking at me.
Wow.
Right? Like, I woke up and like I have this beautiful, like, 8-year-old
Yeah.
face, you know,
Uh-huh.
looking at me, watching me wake up, and I'm like, "Aw, what a wonderful way to wake up," right? Because
Yeah,
all of Ryan's nieces are so adorable.
they are.
And so anyway, but they all have wildly different personalities.
Mm-hmm.
Wildly different. And so, like, okay, so this will illustrate this point right here. So I held my hand up for, like, hey, a high five, right? Like, hey, high five.
Oh, I know.
I hold my hand
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
One girl bunny booped my hand.
Mm-hmm.
You know exactly who that was,
Yeah.
Ryan.
Uh-huh.
Yep. One punched my hand as
Yep.
hard as she could.
Yup.
And the other one ignored it.
Ignored it. Yep. Yep. That's so funny.
But it absolutely, you know, like, we all are built with different personalities, and that, you know, that just absolutely reflects. So the daughter, the niece who punched my hand as hard as she could, she's outgoing and
Mhm.
driven, and she is in charge. And she has a hard time not being in charge. Like, if dad comes in and tells her, you know, like, it can get intense sometimes, right? But, like, so her personality, she will be more likely to go and insert herself and try and be helpful, and because she does have a wonderful heart. She's not mean, right? She's just very driven and determined, and, you know, like, she's outgoing. And now here, the daughter who bunny booped my hand, she would be the one who would be more compassionate. She wants to see if people are okay. She wants to help, you know, but she's definitely people oriented. And the one who completely ignored it is more like me.
Hmm.
A little bit more introverted, a little bit more in my own space, you know, a little bit disconnected. That's okay. But, like, these are, you know, our different personalities. We have different ways that we approach these situations. And so, well, one of the ways that you can become better in these situations is practice just looking at people, acknowledging their presence. You don't have to say anything, but making eye contact and smiling. If you can get in the habit of that, it will become a lot easier to look at someone, smile, and say hello, or say hi, or say, how's it going? Or come up with some weird comment, you know, say something funny off the cuff, right? So these are just some things you can practice. And it's good to know who you are. It's good to know your personality. You can read, there's a book called Personality Plus by Florence Littauer. You can take, there's a test in there, and it'll tell you what type of personality you are, and you can figure it out. 16 personalities is the Myers-Briggs way of doing it, and, like, that will give you some insight into what your personality style is. You'll understand, you know, where your strengths are, where maybe your weaknesses are. Those are things that can help you get an assessment of where you're at, so you can know what to work on. But another book that has helped me, and I've said this so many times on this show, How to Have Confidence and Power in Dealing with People by Les Giblin, is the book that helped me overcome so many fears about people, because you recognize that all of us are people. Human nature is universal.
Just as an
Now,
add real quick, not that it matters, but I was listening to a actual therapist 2 days ago who was trying to help someone, and they recommended the same book. And they're like, it's old, but it's true. And this is what helped me a lot. This has helped so many of my patients. This book. So seriously,
how to have confidence and
Joe
power in
isn't
dealing with
wrong.
people.
Yeah. Joe
Yeah.
isn't wrong in recommending this book. Like, it's a good book, like, legitimately.
And Well, and it's fun to read too. The guy really writes well. I mean, it's way like you will be able to start reading it and you will get sucked into it easily. He's a very good writer. And the what he explains, human nature is human nature. It always has been. And it always will be. We're people. And when you start to understand that we all kind of live in this same, human nature soup that we all live in, right? You realize we all have motivations, we all have different things. We all desire, similar things. And when you can learn to dance with human nature, your life becomes easier. Things run a lot smoother. You'll be able to do these things that, you were too shy to do before, and you'll surprise yourself. You'll start to surprise yourself. You'll be like, "Man, I didn't used to do that at all." Ryan talks about me, you know, being this example of who he looked up to learn this stuff, and it was because I had already read this stuff and practiced it and started by making eye contact, and, it was fearful at first, but, you start to learn it's not a big deal. It's okay. You're gonna be fine. But, when you can learn to dance with human nature, all this becomes so much easier. And you can relax. And then you learn that, hey, you know what? I can say just about anything and it'd probably be just fine. As
Yeah.
long as you try to avoid being offensive,
Right.
but
you
and
stop being
try to
afraid of
avoid
being
being
awkward.
mean. And one thing also, be very cautious with sarcasm. I would say don't use sarcasm because it's so easily misconstrued, misinterpreted. I would reserve sarcasm only for people that I know exceptionally well, and I know how to read them, so I know what kind of day they're having, what kind of mood they're in, and
Yeah.
even then, I would be cautious
Very fair
because
statement.
sarcasm is dangerous. I know a pastor who says sarcasm is his love language, and I'm like, "No, you're just giving yourself license to be a jerk by saying that. I'm sorry, but, seriously." But anyway, I digress. Start by making eye contact. That's one of the most critical steps. If you can start by just walking around and making eye contact with people, then throw in making eye contact and smiling at people. And then as you progress, this could be weeks that go through each of these levels, right? This is a process. And it's okay if it takes a long time. But before you know it, you'll start to realize that it's not a big deal. You can relax. And people will welcome your interaction. So, anyway, hopefully that's helpful. That's all I had.
Awesome. Yeah.
So,
Thanks
back
so
to you.
much. I don't have anything else to add. And so yeah, thank you so much for this topic. I very much do relate with it. And there's stories I could tell about how um I overcame my shyness and started to talk to people and stuff. But I've told it probably like 100 times on Don't Worry Wednesday. Okay, definitely not that many, but still. I've told it many times. But if you want to hear the story sometime, you can come back with a similar question. But and a little bit more pointed. But I've told it so many times I just felt like this time I would stray away from it. But anyhow, I very much relate to this. I really do. I was definitely in your shoes before. And just want to let you know, you can definitely get to this place where you want to be, where you don't feel shy to help people. You can definitely get there. And I don't think you're that far away. Sometimes it takes a while, but for me, it took a matter of probably a month. maybe a little bit less. Maybe it was only like 2 or 3 weeks, and I had corrected my course. And that's like when I was probably 15, 16 years old. So I don't know how old you are, but it's not too late, and it's not too early. Just where you are. So yeah, go for it. I'm proud of you for bringing up this topic. I'm proud of you for wanting to do good for people, and I'm excited to see the influence you have in this world, because you will. You absolutely will. So thank you so much, and I appreciate you. We love you. All right. So are you guys ready for another topic?
Oh, maybe not. Princess.
Well, for one, we have to ask, is Ash still here? Because I haven't seen them in the last 15 minutes.
The sandwich story.
And 2, we need to ask Ash, your topic is one we would like to do next. You have 2 in the queue. Which one would you like? Because you've marked them both urgent. So I don't have one versus the other on which you would prefer.
That's a great question. So, Ash, are you still here? Ash, which topic would you like?
Ash, you're amazing.
Yeah, Ash, you're amazing.
And we love you, Ash.
Ash, I'm about to message you on Discord. Like, get your butt in the Ash, where'd you go? Okay, well, let me see if I can find her.
If not, then we have a different one we could do. But I just figured since there was 2 of them, and I know that Ash was around at some point, that would be good to.
Ash might be eating.
Okay.
That's a possibility.
I think I remember them eating around this time multiple times.
Okay. Oh, Ash is here.
There we go.
Hey.
It's okay.
Welcome back, Ash.
Welcome.
You're totally fine. Hatsu, I will get back with you after the show about your question.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah.
Ash, which topic would you like? That would be very helpful.
We've
got. Need a reminder.
And don't say the one that starts with C, because they both start with C.
Well, they didn't name them. Princess did. So I'm gonna tell them what these topics are. They'll probably know what they are based on the topic titles. So we've got one from you. Both of these were labeled urgent. So we've got confidence and worth, and the other one is confronting.
Yeah,
confronting for answers. Okay, that's a weird topic and it doesn't compute in my brain. I don't even understand what that means. Confronting for answers. Oh, confronting someone for answers. Okay, got it.
I get what that means.
Yeah, I just had to.
I'm about to confront you for some answers, Ryan.
Yeah, well, I just didn't have the word that was missing. I didn't. Sorry.
Well, I don't know what other replacement word to put there.
Yeah, no, that's
good.
So it makes sense.
This is thank you, Ash. I want to do this one.
Okay, confronting for answers. Thank you, Ash. You're marvelous.
That's the kind of mood I'm in. I'm in a mood.
You gotta confront. You get in a confronting mood. Okay, well, here we
are. Confrontational.
Well, well, then we're gonna do the topic.
Yeah, man.
Put it right on the screen for you guys, so you can read along as Princess speaks aloud.
So I want your guys' opinion on this before I do something stupid, or at least potentially stupid. There was this guy a few years back who was verbally abusive to me and just a total jerk. I'll spare you all the details of what happened, but in short, he made me extremely depressed and stole my confidence. But I'm doing better now, and I'm at least mostly over him. And I want to know why he acted like that back then. I tried to confront him about it 3 years ago, but he had blocked my number right after we had stopped talking, which was about 4 years ago. So now I'm doing a lot better, and I want to confront him. I have another number that he wouldn't know. Problem is, I don't know what I should say, so I need some ideas. Also, do you guys think this is a stupid idea? Part of me feels like I shouldn't do this in fear that I'll get hurt again. But I am stronger now. The other part of me really wants an answer as to what made him think that I deserved that back then. So, Let me know if this is a stupid idea. Lol. Thank you for all the help over the past 2 years. Love you all. From Ash.
Wonderful. Thank you so much,
Mhm.
Ash. Thank you for thanking us, I guess. But also thanks for being with us over the past 2 years. It's been a wonderful part of our community, and you're just a really nice and wonderful person. I just
Mhm.
want to say right off the bat, I understand sometimes we need resolution, or we need things to be like resolved. We want to understand. We want to know. Sometimes we just want, yeah, to understand, or we want to resolve something that's been in our mind, even though we've kind of overcome it. We still want to confront the part of it that caused it, and that's okay. That's okay to want to resolve those, and it's okay to seek those sometimes. The other thing I just want to say real quick too is, don't assume that he's where you are,
Mhm.
mentally speaking.
Mhm.
This person might not even understand or remember or recognize themselves. They might remember it, they might remember you, but it doesn't mean that they have moved to become the person that can have a conversation with you, that can really actually spell things out like you are hoping. Sometimes we move on and other people don't.
Mhm.
But we don't know. Maybe this person has moved forward. Maybe this person might be able to be on that same wavelength as you are right now. There's a chance. But I just want to put that up front. And then the last thing I want to say is, keep in mind that if you can't you can't resolve it. You can't. Don't. And I don't think you're doing this, but don't halt your growth because of this person's unwillingness to answer your questions, right? Recognize that you've moved beyond this, and that you can forgive them, and that you can do so regardless of whether they ever answer you or not, because you don't want to halt your own self progression, right, for the sake of an answer, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes we don't need the answer. What we need to do is become better people, and move on, right? The answer doesn't change anything, and seeking the answer is wasting time. It happens. It happens. Am I saying that that's what's going to happen here? Nope. I'm just trying to safeguard you. I'm just trying to help you the best that I can, and just tell you that you are not, again, like we said in a previous topic, you aren't the person. You aren't a reflection of how people treat you. That's not who you are. You aren't the outcome, or that's not who you are inside, right? How people treat you is who they are. So
Mhm.
keep that in mind, and I think you should be fine. But anyhow, this is a great topic, and I have a lot more to say, but I'm gonna give it over to Joe, and I'm excited to see what he's got.
Mm. I'm excited to see what I have too. I don't know what I have.
Mm.
Um, we're talking about something that's a few years back here.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
just I'm looking back over the details. Okay, so you stopped talking to this person about 4 years ago. You tried to confront him about 3 years ago. There was a verbally abusive time where this person, I'm not sure all the details. And if you want, Ash, you can feel free to DM me if you want to talk about this further, because depending on some details about how you ended up knowing this person, did you know them online or IRL, and how did all that happen? Was it in a public server? Was it in, like how did you end up meeting this person? How long was your interaction? How much was this abuse? Like what there are details that might kind of shape how I would maybe direct you in this situation. But with that amount of time, and maybe it's because I'm a little bit older now. Okay, it was IRL. He just kind of like made himself a part of our friend group looking back. Okay. Um and so okay, so this is an IRL person. And if you have their phone number, They blocked you. So it it may be kind of interesting to get a hold of them now that you have a new number and just be like, hey, this is me, like, and blah blah blah. And why did you treat me like that? You could go that route. You totally could. So what are your options? You could call him and confront him right there. Be like, hey, this is me. But you know what? I will tell you probably what's likely to happen if you call him up with your new number and say, hey, this is me. And I'm just wondering, what the heck happened? Why did you treat me like that? Why were you abusive? Blah, 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 blah. That's probably a good way to get that new number that you have blocked on his phone. As well, right? Because a lot of times if we just start in a confrontational manner, especially if it's been 4 years, then there's a good chance that he's moved on to tremendously different things, and whatever. I mean, if you haven't had any contact with this person. Okay, Ash, I want to make it clear that harass him. I didn't harass him until he blocked me. We had a really bad conversation one day. I got really upset and my friend talked to him for me. He said he didn't like me, said he didn't want to talk. So I said goodbye. Then he blocked me. Okay. So I would ask a few questions to myself. If this was me and I was dealing with this situation, I'd be like, okay, why? Why do I want to know? Is this just curiosity? Is there something in me that feels unresolved? Is there something in me? You don't have to answer these questions in the chat if you don't want to. These are just questions to kind of think about in yourself. Like, why do I want to do this? What's the reason for this unresolved, tension that I have or whatever is going on? Why do I really need these answers?
And if I may interject a question, you could also ask is, what are you looking for from this? From contacting him? What are you hoping to gain? What is it that you're looking for?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're totally fine. That's a really good question. And I'm glad you mentioned that because that wasn't one that I was gonna mention. So,
But I knew it went along your train, so sorry.
What's that?
I knew it was along the train of thought, and I was thinking you anyway, go forth.
Okay, I gotcha. You're really just looking for closure. Okay. Closure is something that sometimes we get and sometimes we don't. We don't always get closure from another person. Sometimes we have to close it ourselves.
Most of the time, actually.
A lot of times we have to close it ourselves. And that's okay. And here's the thing. As you gain more life experiences, as you go through different things, what you'll start to realize is things that we have gone through in the past, things that we thought were really, really important to us, maybe aren't as important as we thought. And this closure, while it may feel really important to you now, it may not be in a few years as you handle some different life experiences. I had this, Jono, I don't know if you're still here. Jono Taylor, he got me the most unique Christmas gift this year. He got me some Overwatch coaching with a top 500 Overwatch player.
Oh, wow,
Which
really?
was really cool. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Jono, hey man, you're awesome. Thank you so much. And that was a great, you say present. Yes, that was a great present that you got me for Christmas. That was, and I learned so
That's so
much, and
cool.
it's great because I was just playing with my son today. Actually, I was playing some Overwatch today, and I'm like actually really starting to learn how to carry a lot better with this character,
Wow.
and it's getting a lot of fun. But there was a moment in this, and Jono has asked me this when we're playing, and the coach asked me the same thing while we were playing. He's like, you're not really getting angry when these things are happening. You're not like feeling, like, I don't know how you stay so calm.
The
because
coach?
this is like, yeah, even like this is really like he wanted to see how I played, and he become allergic to Overwatch.
Akil, what the heck?
Yeah, I don't remember playing with you either,
Yeah.
but I'd love to. Anyway, so we were playing, and he's like, okay, I want you to play a match, because I want to see how you act. I want to see how you do these things. And so I'm playing the game, and things are happening. Like normal gameplay. It gets intense. And you're rushing all over the place. There's all kinds of stuff going on, and you're trying to do all these different things. And my main character is Lucio, who's a healer. He's a support person, right? And you got to keep track of your whole team, and you got to know where people are at, and there's a lot to kind of keep track of with this guy. And so, but the coach and Jono both had said to me, like, I don't know how you just stay so calm. And then the coach said to Jono, he's like, he said, well, he's got kids. He handles stuff. He handles bigger things on a regular basis. And I'm like, yeah. And I just went through a really big mess of a divorce. Like when you go through crazy hard stuff, you realize that, little things like how a game is going doesn't really matter.
Mm.
And why do I tell that story for you, Ash? And I think it's just because, while right now in this whole situation, this person being abusive to you it was very hurtful. And I'm not saying it wasn't. Because anytime somebody's abusive to us, it's hurtful. I lived under, massive amounts of abuse psychologically for a long time. And it did some really interesting damage that is being worked through right now. And it, so when people are abusive, it can really strike us in a difficult way. But you know what? My abuser, I am never getting closure on this. I'm never going to get closure. I've been through this with my therapist. It's not going to happen because a lot of times in the case of an abusive person, the best thing you can do is just stop contact. Stop all contact. Now, unfortunately, I have to have contact with the person that was abusive towards me. So I can't cut off all contact, but I can limit it to only the necessary contact. And so that's what I've been advised to do. And so when it comes to the relationship, when it comes to the abuse, when it comes to all that kind of stuff, there's never going to be closure. Ever. It's already closed because I had to close the door in order to heal. And that's a danger, right? Here's the thing, because what happens when somebody's abusive, and it depends on the kind of abuse. Now, if somebody's just mean and ridiculous, that's one thing. If somebody is, like manipulative and psychologically, all that kind of stuff, like what? Here's the thing. If this abuse was in any way manipulative, I would say close it now and don't go and don't talk to them. Because what happens when we go back, we open ourselves up to further abuse. And when it's manipulative, when there's manipulation involved, we can get sucked back in. I had to learn from my therapist. My therapist said, I don't trust you with this person because you have shown that you can get drawn in and let your guard down and get sucked right back into the whole thing, and it will pull you back in and destroy you even further. So in some cases, and I don't know, you don't have to say in the chat, whatever, but think about that. If this was manipulative in any way, I would just close it and say, I'm better, not going back. Princess, did you have something to say?
I do have a few things I can speak on.
This would be perfect.
And the biggest thing that I want to summarize kind of from what Joe is saying is don't give him the power to control whether you get closure or not. Because you can have closure from this. But it's not going to come probably from him. Could it? Maybe. More than likely, it's not. Because when you talk to him and you put that out there, it's more likely that he might deflect or be defensive or, like, I didn't do this. What are you talking about? Or,
Yes.
might not answer at all, or might be like, you're just too sensitive, or, you did it to me instead, or any sorts of number of responses that could come either from a real or not real place in their perception of what happened. Because there are two sides of every story. And I'm not saying that to nullify what you experienced. What you experienced is your experience, right? But this person also went through their experiences and they have their own view. But I don't think that their view is going to be what gives you closure.
Mm-hmm.
And while this, I think, is a very hard statement to hear as a question, I'm still going to propose it. As you've said, you've grown stronger. So why does it matter to know why he did what he did? And I know that's a really tough question because I know that if that was thrown at me and some of my hurts and pains, that it would be like, what are you talking about? Of course it matters. It matters to me because this whole situation matters to me. It was about me. I was the one hurt. But really, truly, what does it change in you now to know why he did what he did? Why does it matter? Should it matter? Should you give him that power? And I understand this might be really hard, or it might, this might be something that you take with a grain of, yes, store it in the back of your head and you got to simmer on it, or don't if you can't handle it. I can understand that too. But it really doesn't matter why he did it. He could have done it out of malicious intent. He could have done it not realizing what he was doing. He could have done it because it was the place he was in, the environment he grew up in. Maybe he grew up with manipulative people and that's just how life worked. But he can't really tell you that answer either because he might be still in the middle of his own world. And so I can understand the curiosity of like, why did this person do it? Like, what was their intentions behind this? But the truth is that you really don't know. And the even better news is you don't have to know to continue to live on and to be a wonderful person. You have grown. You have grown stronger. You have regained some level of your confidence, and you want to continue growing that. And it's letting go and not holding on to it, to forgive what has happened and forgive the debt of not giving you closure. To forgive it, that he doesn't owe you answers. Doesn't matter anymore. Not because it didn't matter as in it wasn't real and hurtful and that it was wrong. Wrong is wrong. But that he doesn't owe you an explanation and you don't need one because you don't need it to move on, to be better, to be you, to live life. So, in all honesty, I would say let him go. Don't contact him. You might have a way to do it, and I can understand the appeal of wanting to understand why somebody did what they did. But at the same time, in the end, what is the worth that you're gaining from it? What do you get? Because what I envision is pain on your end, pain on his end, and that there isn't growth forward from making this, step forward. It's just gonna set you back, set him back from wherever you're at, and you're going to have to get over this new experience of pain and suffering.
Mm.
So that would be my recommendation. If you still want closure, there are many ways to do it that doesn't have to involve the person.
Mm.
If you want, you can write a letter. You can write it in a text message format. You could write a Discord message that you send to a trusted friend or to a new server that you create that has nobody else but you, and you just put it out there just to get it out there. You know? You could write a letter that you burn. You could write a letter that you float into the ocean or a lake, or you drown in your bathtub, whatever floats your boat, or in this case, sinks it. Whatever it takes for you to have that, if it helps to have a physical representation of it and to have that get thrown out the world and for it to be done to help you move forward, those are great ways to do it. And you don't need the other person to do it. You need you, and you need the courage and the open mind and heart to let it go, to allow it to just have been what it was
Mm-hmm.
as the past. And that's what I've got. I'll turn it back over to Rye or to Joe for
Yes.
any other closing statements and stuff.
Yeah, thank you for interjecting, Princess. You are awesome. And I'm gonna turn it over to Ryan because I'm probably just gonna continue yelling and spouting and start crying. So, Ryan.
I'll try to do that for you. No, you don't have to. There you go, Joe. Yeah, I'm
I'm
gonna.
sorry for getting so much of my personal experience involved in that.
No,
But
no, I think
that
it's
No,
good. It's
no.
important. The experience is what we're here to share, so it makes sense.
mm,
Um, I I'm gonna take a step back, okay, Joe? Sorry, okay, Ash. Um, Joe, sorry, you're in this conversation, I
you can
guess.
you can take a
Yeah,
step
I'm
back.
gonna take a step back.
Step back,
And
Ryan. Step off.
let's say you talk to yourself, okay, Ash. I would say you can talk to yourself while we're talking to you right now. What is the reason you want to message them? Because I started this off and I put everybody in a direction because I said that your intention is probably that you're seeking closure. And so Joe and Princess both went on that. It's the most likely reason, but it isn't the only reason or possibility. So, Ash, I just want to give you the possibility that maybe you want to do this for two other possibly good reasons. There's a third possible reason, which ultimately just comes back into wanting closure, and that's you being mean to them and attacking them, because you were offended and you want justice, and that's fine. But wanting justice is ultimately a desire for closure. So, so
Or
there's
maybe
two other
revenge.
revenge. Yeah, revenge as another option, also being wanting.
Not a good one though.
Yeah, not a good one. So let's give you another two possibilities if you don't mind. I mean, it could be out of closure or desire for closure, but Ash, only you know. Because I'm not going to attack. Yeah, I know that you're not the person that was going to attack them. Wait, that was just a silly possibility. Two other possibilities are that instead of closure, what you want is information. You might have already come to a position where you've had that closure, and the only thing you want is to understand personality or people or what makes people do the things they do. And when you see someone react in such a uniquely but driven manner, you might go, okay, I want to understand why this person did this, because it might help me in my future relationships. It might help me to prevent people from having such a violent or intense reaction. And it might also help this person, is the second thing. The second possibility is that your intention is that you want to confront them because you want to help them, because you recognize that 4 years ago, they made mistakes, and you maybe potentially are seeing this as an opportunity to be a gift to them and say, you know what, maybe I can help them now that I understand more. Maybe I can impart some of my understanding into them and help them if this is still something that's lying on their or worrying them. Because there are situations where you can recognize, like, okay, this person is still caught up in this. 4 years later, they're still feeling shame about what they did, or they're still feeling whatever, and so you can help bring them closure by being the one to act rather than so okay, he doesn't deserve me as a gift. That's fair. So that answers that one. Yeah.
But it's still good to bring up, because there might be other people who read or listen to this topic and are like, I connect to this for that reason. So
yeah,
I still think
fair.
it's a great thing to cover.
Yeah, and I want to put it out there just in case it brings to mind the possibility that maybe you can see it that way. Because sometimes what we want is perhaps it's closure, or perhaps it's curiosity alone, but we can transform our intention to become one that is more pure, and that will change the way we interact with the person and ultimately have an effect on that person and ourselves, right? And so if you transform your, let's say you are in a position where you are genuinely looking for closure, looking for just an understanding so you can put the book away, right? Sometimes you want the end of the story so that you can put the book down, right? But you don't need it, right? The life continues on, but sometimes that's the case. So my point is, sometimes we can, by giving ourselves a new proposition, a new possibility, we can evolve our desire for closure to a state of, well, now I'm just curious, I don't really care for closure, or even to a point where we say, well, now I just want to help the person, right? But transforming it from one thing to another is important if we can, because seeking closure from this scenario. Obviously, Princess and Joe have talked extensively on this. I'm not going to go any further. It's not going to help to talk to them. But if you genuinely want information, just as in, I want to understand and study this human being and this relational interaction that we had. I want to understand the relational interaction because I want to learn from it. I want to grow from it, right? That's okay. That's okay. So let's make our starting point that instead. Okay. Okay. A mix of wanting closure and being curious. Yeah. Okay. So, I would say don't go in expecting that they'll ever close anything for you, because ultimately, in the end, it's you who closes it. Even if they give you a reason, it's you who closes it in the end. Because why? Because before you go into this process, you already have in the back of your brain the certain things you want to hear. And if they don't say those things, then there isn't closure. That's how our brains operate. A lot of times, we're looking for specific things, specific words, and we say, well, I'll put a close to this if I hear these words, or I'll stop letting it bug me if I hear this, or this thing happens, or that thing happens. And we go into it with that frame of mind. And so in the end, we've already decided for ourselves whether it's going to be closed or not. And so we want to make sure we get rid of that aspect, right? So what I'm recommending is don't go in for closure. Like Princess said, you're better off finding closure by yourself, because if you've already, your brain, whether you know it or not, has already put its prerequisites out there for closure. What you want to do is work on those and change those, and don't make them about the person. And I'm sorry being real stern with you, Ash, but I think it's important, right? Because you're worth it, and I know that you can get through this regardless of whether you ever confront this person or not. Here's the next thing I'm going to say. Let's say you're doing it purely out of curiosity. Let's say you evolve past the closure point. Let's say you no longer have the preconceived notions or the setup or whatever it is in your brain that says, okay, I will accept closure if this happens or whatever. If you just accept closure now, let's say you do that, okay? Let's say you do that. Then you want to talk to the person just to understand humanity. Just out of the desire to understand, where they were at, and maybe even give them the opportunity to feel forgiven. If you happen to evolve your feelings to that point. Here's what I'm gonna tell you. And one other thing, maybe you're just going to ignore us and talk to them anyways, for closure. Your brain is set where it is, and it won't accept closure unless you talk to them. All right, whatever. Maybe we can't have an influence on that. I hope that we do, but let's say we don't. I'm gonna give you some really helpful advice then, if you're gonna go talk to this person. Being confrontational will only create defense mechanisms within them that will make them not want to help you or want to basically do anything that's going to help you. Whenever you enter a conversation with someone and you put them into a position where they have to defend themselves, you've completely closed the door to any progress. That's just the case. Unless this person is in a state of mind where they've dealt with being defensive enough to recognize they can put away their defenses and be open, regardless of you putting them in their defense. Like, most people aren't to that point. Most people don't handle people like that, right? It's very rare that you'll find someone that's willing to be put on the defensive because you're being aggressive, or you're being confrontational, or you're being in a position where you're accusing them, you're pointing out things where they've done wrong, right? Because that's what you're going in doing. Unfortunately, when you go into this conversation, the immediately, okay, let's say you reach out to this person, you tell them who you are. What's the first thing that's going to happen? They're going to think about the time that you guys parted. So where are they immediately put? In the defensive. Because now there's confrontation immediately just by you guys talking. So the whole situation is already ruined by the context. The fact that you guys are talking in the first place is going to make this person feel awkward and conflicted and confronted, right? And so if you have a conversation with this person, the only way you're ever going to get information, good answers out of this person, is if you end the conflict and you make it non-aggressive and you don't confront them and you make them your friend, and then they can talk about it. There's only one other option where you confront them and they're willing to share information that you're looking for. And that's if they've become the person that can do that. But I'll tell you, 99% of humanity isn't that kind of person. 99% of humanity, if you put them in a confrontation, they're going to go on the defensive, and that's going to cause all sorts of you're not going to get your answers. So if you want answers from them, the only way, statistically speaking, right? We're just going to go off of statistics, chances here. The only way is for you to enter into that relationship in a forgiving manner, in a renewed manner, where you aren't where it doesn't seem like you're searching for answers in an offensive way, as if they've done something wrong. If you put someone in a position where they're being told they've done something wrong, or they feel like they've done something wrong, they're just going to shut down. They're going to attack you back. They're going to try to tell you that you've done something wrong, because our brains don't like it. Like, we don't like confrontation to begin with. No one, like, generally speaking, we don't like confrontation, but we don't especially like confrontation in here. When we're told with our brains, like, I'm not a good person, we do everything we can to change the data. If someone tells me that I'm a bad person, my natural reaction is possibly to show them that they're a worse person than I am. Or my natural reaction might be, I'm going to defend myself. I'm going to prove that I'm a good person by distorting their data or correcting their data where they're wrong. If I'm put on the defensive about whether I'm a good person or not, whether I've done things right or wrong, right? Immediately, my brain is going to just come up with new information on the spot, or not like create it, but try to find information on the spot to prove that I'm a good person, even if that means attacking the person in front of me to do it. Because in here, this conflict in here is way bigger than that conflict with this other person on the other side of the phone or the screen or face, whatever, in person. So I hope you understand what I'm saying here. When you put someone in a position where you're telling them that they've done something wrong, or you're reminding them of something they've done wrong, their whole objective in their brain is, I need to resolve this issue where, I need to prove that I'm a good person. I need to, at all costs, even if it means being a jerk, because brains do not handle interior conflict well. So ultimately, what I'm trying to tell you is, if you go into this conversation with this person, unless they just happen to be a really weird person, most of the time, like 99 out of 100 times, you're going to have to enter into this forgiving them first, telling them that basically they're okay and they're not a bad person. You're going to have to reassure them that what they did in the past, whether it was wrong or right, that you find them to be a good person now. And that's hard to say because you don't know them. But if you don't give them that information that they're a good person now, they're going to be pushed into the defensive, and you're not going to get anything which you like. So honestly, the only way to resolve this is to get closure before, and then enter into that relationship with a fresh start. Let them know that you don't care about the past as far as who is right, who is wrong, and that you accept them for being a good person, or at least for the potential of them being a good person. Because otherwise, the mental gymnastics that you and them are going to be performing within your own brains and then trying to figure out each other, yeah, it's not going to work. 99 out of 100 times. It's not going to work. So, does that make sense, Ash? Do you get what I'm laying down? Basically, that the only way to get answers is to come closure, to close this before you start trying to get answers. You have to have this completely resolved within your mind. You have to be the kind of person that can enter in with a sense of, like, what do you call that? Not just courage, but like character, like charisma, where you are in control of the situation, where this person just looks at you and go, wow, this person's like in control, but I can see they're not hostile at all. Where your intentions of hostile, or your intentions are clearly not hostile. They look at you and they go, wow, this person's like put together, and they calm me when I'm around them. They make me feel calm. They make me feel like maybe I'm a good person, and I'm forgiven from whatever crap we had earlier in our, relationship that wasn't so great, right? Getting to that point is going to require you to let go of the whole thing. If you want answers, that's the only way you're going to get them, because just the way the brain works and the way you're going to have to interact with this person. And I'm sorry, that's just the truth. And I'm trying to be as logical and playing it out for you step by step as possible, because I want to let you know that you're getting into, and that chances are, like 1 out of 100 times, are you ever going to actually receive answers in a hostile situation, right? So basically, what Princess said, what Joe said, you're going to have to get the resolve before you go. Princess?
And even in a hostile situation, more likely you're going to get answers that aren't the answers you're looking for.
Yeah, you're going to get answers that are just attacking you and had nothing to do with the real answers.
Yep. And I also noticed that you said, like, would it be mean to make him my friend and then never talk to him again? I mean, I don't think that your goal is really to make him your friend. So it definitely would be kind of like, just think about that from the reciprocal end, right? Like if you had a friend that you hadn't talked to a while, you talk to them again, they were your friend, and then they never talked to you again. They
Yeah,
might
mostly
not
it's a joke.
notice it, but it also might be like that whole yeah.
Is that
Okay.
really what a
Sorry,
friend is?
I did not see that as a joke. Pardon me. I take things a little more literally and at face value than perhaps the average person. Um, but I mean, again, also your goal probably isn't to be their friend. It might be to be an acquaintance or some other level that has more distance of like, hey, I'm cool with your existence, but we're not like friends. We're not going to go out to the movies together or stuff like that, you know, or whatever. But most of the time, unless you're really looking to remake a friendship with them, which is not really what I think you want, having a relationship with them, it's asking them isn't going to get what you're seeking because that's not where things are at or how things work, right? It would take a very special type of person to be able to give the person what they're looking for in that scenario
Mm-hmm.
that I don't think you're gonna find.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's fine.
anyway. Yeah. No, it's all good, Ash, all good. It makes sense that it's a joke. I just I did want to address it because I saw it. So
Fair enough. Yep.
Uh-huh.
Cool. I'm sure. Did you have anything you want to add?
I've got me.
Yeah.
I have lots of things I want to add. I don't know if I should.
Okay.
Pick
Pick one. No.
I mean, it's been
We can
40
move on.
minutes and we're at 54, an hour 54. So
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
getting close
Yeah.
to our time.
I mean, yeah. I will
Ash.
say a couple things.
You go for it.
I love what Ryan and Princess both talked about. And I apologize. This I was well excited about a confrontational one, right? And then, but then I'm like relating my own experience and I'm like, whoa, I'm like starting to go crazy here. But I wanted to just let you know what Ryan and Princess were talking about is absolutely valid and real. And what you're going to notice is it's going to be very easy what Ryan was talking about, the type of information that you're looking for, if you confront them, you're not going to get the information you're looking for. You're going to get defensiveness or remanipulated into believing that it was your fault or something. You're not going to actually get the answers you're seeking. That's absolutely true. And one of the things you're going to find is most of the time with an abuser, they will move on from you so much faster than you can even imagine.
And quite honestly, it can be very painful.
Mm-hmm.
If the answer that they send to you is because I could,
Mm-hmm.
or many things like that, or like, well, it doesn't matter, or
Or
other very dismissive things can be very
yep,
painful, especially when you're like, why did you do it? Just cause.
yep.
It can stir it up more than actually put it to rest. And again,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that's what they would say. I don't know this person. And again, we don't know. None of us know why what happened.
Yep.
There's
The
reasons behind it,
classic
but
there
we don't know
yes.
them, and it's not really going to be our place in life to get to know them. We could work towards it, as Ryan had laid out a plan if you wanted to get there for that, but you're gonna have to be in a really buckled up, helmet on, like, headspace where you've gotta be really ready for a very, hard battle if you ever get those answers at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no guarantee that this person wants to have contact with you. If they blocked you, they might just be like, I don't care to
Mm-hmm.
answer, and then all you get is an unresolved question out there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep. An unresolved question, or like Princess was just saying, like because I could, because I wanted to, or something like, well, I didn't do anything wrong. You did this, and that's your fault. And you could totally get gaslit. There's all kinds of scenarios, and so you're approaching a situation that I would approach with great caution, and go back and listen to what Ryan said, and because his explanation was so perfect. Like, the only way you're going to get the answers you want is if you've already closed it. It's already been closed. It's forgiven. It's done. And then you can approach them with that true seeking, seeking the ideas of humanity, seeking, all that kind of stuff that he was talking about. So I will go back and re-listen to what Ryan had to say, because that's where you will get the actual answers. But even then, depending on where they're at, depending on their mental state, depending on what type of person they are, you may never get the real answer.
They might not know the answer. That's the thing.
Exactly. There may be a mental hang up there. Certain people, there are 3 different types of people that there is an actual physical issue in their brains. Psychopaths, sociopaths, and narcissists do not register empathy in their brains. So, like, empathy, like the ability to relate to how another person is feeling, like, that doesn't show up. Like, it doesn't even light up on brain scans for them. And so they may not be capable of giving you a real answer. It may just be because there's that issue there. And that's what you might have been dealing with. So,
And there's one other thing I'd like to add, which is it is not a stupid question to ask this topic.
absolutely not.
It is a very, like, don't feel stupid for having the idea or anything like that. Because 1, we've all been there. 2, it's a very natural response to have, right? You have this scenario, you have a hurt, and you're like, well, I want to bring it up to this person. I want to have a resolve. I want to bring this to them so that we can fix this and then let it go. So it totally makes sense. It also can be very easy to wrap it up in your emotions and be like, I just want to give them a piece of my mind. I want to give them a piece of my hurt so that they can understand, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that that's the right or the best thing to do. And so it totally makes sense to me that you would, bring this to us. And I wouldn't beat yourself up about it at all. Even if, most of the advice is, well, you could do it in a certain way, but a lot of times you're not going to get what you're looking for, sort of answer. So
It's
thank you
amazing.
for having the courage to bring this topic to us.
Yeah, it's a good
Yeah,
topic.
and thanks for putting up with us. Especially me.
Nah, Joe, you're great. Don't even
You're
worry
great,
about it.
Joe.
But yeah, thank you so much, Ash. This is a great topic, and it's a really important one because everybody has to struggle with something like this in their life, where they are seeking resolve, and sometimes it's just true. We find ways that, oh, maybe this will do it, and I love that you bring it forward. But I think a lot of times you can't rely on other people to get where you're trying to get. You have to get it yourself first, and then invite people there, especially when it comes to your own closure, right? I think that's the best way to say it. You can't rely on other people to solve something for you. You have to solve it. If it's in your head, you have to solve it in your head. Then you can invite other people into that space. And I think that's the best way to do it. But yeah, thank you so much, Ash. And yeah, don't feel like at all like we railed you or like you were making the wrong moves. You didn't make any wrong moves. You made the normal human move, and we're just here to tell you about the consequences and stuff from our experiences. And so you didn't do anything wrong here, and so don't feel like we were trying to rail you on that. I really hope you don't, because you didn't do anything wrong at all. Even if you went to pursue this person and try to get answers, that wouldn't have been the wrong move. It just isn't the best move, because it doesn't help you. And we're trying to help you, if that makes sense. And that's all we care about. But yeah, you're welcome, and we love you too. That's awesome. You're awesome, Ash. You're amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, let's see. What time is it? I guess we've run our show. Only got to 2 topics. Wow. I guess I did talk
They were
Because
big topics today.
the
Yeah, they
topics were so awesome.
Yeah, the topics were really great. And I really appreciate the topics. I mean, they were definitely not topics that we've covered. I mean, the shyness we've talked a little bit about, is, people person, but this last one was definitely unique. I don't think we've ever talked about getting closure, in that extent. And so I think that's really cool. I mean, we've talked about forgiveness and stuff plenty of times. Yeah. So anyhow, thank you guys so much for the lovely show. We appreciate you all so much. But yeah, it's really great to be here. I hope you guys are enjoying being here as well. Don't Worry Wednesday is definitely my favorite part of just the fact that I get to be. I love this show. It's so cool. Yeah, it's a blessing.
Hatsu, I'm not sure if we're capable of doing a short topic tonight.
A short topic? Yeah, even a short topic would be a long topic.
A certain one about a sandwich. There once upon a time was a sandwich. The end. Sorry.
No, Hatsu has a topic about a sandwich.
Oh.
I want their topic covered, but it's
Gotcha.
late.
I see. Planet of the Darkness comes. Unfortunately, it would take me a while to set that up because I don't even remember how I set it up the first time. So you'll have to forgive me. Tonight's show concludes by the song that you hear every week, which is Be Dat, which I think is
Be Dat.
I think is spelled that way. Be Dat. And
that's it.
That's what you're gonna get, and I'm sorry I can't give you anything else. But if you want to listen to The Darkness Comes, you can go to Spotify and play it, and that would be for free, but we get money, so that's a good way to do it. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Well, love you guys. I hope you guys are have an awesome rest of your week and Christmas time and all of that, and hope to see you next week as well. Bye-bye.
Love you guys.
Peace. Where's the end screen?
Where's the end screen?
Not that one. Is it this one?
It's
I
the
found
button.
it.
You hit the button.
All
there you go.
right. Bye.
Love you guys.
Yeah.